Good day. My name is Steve Young, and I'm a Cloud Solution Architect with Microsoft Canada. This is a video recording of a tutorial walkthrough that I provided for a virtual workshop. As sessions have gone from in-person to virtual, I recorded this tutorial as we were not able to provide hands-on labs. The tutorial is itself available at the link shown below. So we used this video as a walkthrough of the tutorial that people could then do on their own. I divided the tutorial up into 9 parts, so each was roughly 5 to 9 minutes, and we'd stop for questions in between each portion. I did not include Demo 2, a walk through the interface, nor Demo 7, orchestrate activities with pipelines, in this recording, as we covered those topics in more detailed discussions. So let's get started. In this demo, we're going to work with data in the storage account. One of the key points of Azure Synapse Analytics is the ability to create a curated data lake that is available to various analysts and teams in your organization. With the data in the data lake, you have the ability to work with the data directly in various applications in the Synapse platform. Let's look at a few examples of consuming data directly from the data lake. In the first scenario, we'll use the primary storage account of the workspace and container that we specified when creating the workspace. So let's start by creating files in the data lake by exporting data from our Spark database. So let's go to Develop, and we're going to create a notebook. And that notebook is going to be called Export to Data Lake. Demo script, data lake. So add code. I'm going to paste the script in. And so what this will do is it'll run a SQL statement through Spark, and it's going to export that data to a CSV file in our data lake. New York Taxi will be the directory, passenger counts.csv. And it's going to write a Parquet file to the New York City Taxi directory, passenger count stats.parquet. So let's run the script. And since we don't have the Spark session started at the moment, it's paused. It will start the session and then run the script. And as we see the job running, it is now stopped. Everything has succeeded. So there's 2 ways that we can see the files in the data lake. So if we come up to Data, Linked, Storage Accounts, we'll see the primary storage account. We'll see the primary container. And you'll see here NYC Taxi data that we created. And there are the passenger count stats and passenger count stats, the Parquet file, and CSV. So as we've been talking about Azure Synapse Analytics in the Workspace portal, we also have, if you have access, you also have the ability through tools such as the Azure Data Explorer. I can come to the data lake, the blob container, come to the file, and then I can now see the files here in the data lake. So again, not as long as you have access to the data lake, and that's through Azure Synapse Analytics, you can consume all of these assets in different applications outside of Azure Synapse Analytics. So let's walk through the following example. Let's say I'm an analyst and I have access to the Synapse workspace and the files within the data lake. I found the area I want to work in, and so I can go into the directory, come to the file or files that I'm looking for. I can right-click, say New Notebook, and you'll see that it's popped me into a new notebook attached to Spark and PySpark, and it's given me the connection string and everything I need to create a connection to that data. So if I run this, it's going to show me the top 100 records in that file. And that record comes back, provided the top 100 records in that file. But again, it's an example of going to the data lake, selecting the group of files or file that you want to analyze, selecting them, right-clicking in a notebook, and that notebook is created with the connection, with the files, and ready to work on. So I could then create another code cell and continue with my analysis. So it's not only the data scientists in Spark. So if I close this, let's go back to the data lake. I can also right-click, ask for a new SQL script, select top 100 rows, and you'll see I get an open row set, the bulk load connection, and if I run here, you will also notice that it's SQL on demand and using the master database because it is an open row set. So it's starting the query, and the query comes back. And again, in this notebook, you've got the ability to chart, have tables, etc. But again, this is an example of being able to go into a data lake when you're in the Azure Synapse Analytics workspace, right-click on the files you're looking for, and brings back the connection strings and your ability to work in a record set and a data set based on those files. So I've got one more example. Let's say that I have a series of files and I know that I only want a certain number. Let's say whether it's the first 3 months, each month is a file, or there's some reason why I only want a specific. We've done examples so far where you go in and select a file. So I have crime data from Boston in 2016 in Parquet format. So if I come in here, I see I have a number of files. But let's say that I only wanted, let's just pull the first 3. Now, as an analyst, I could then right-click, new script, and let's just say, select the top 100 rows. So what comes back is an open row set where the files are in these paths. So rather than creating a very long connection string, I can just select the files I want from the data lake. I can then click Run. And here are the records within that file or set of files. What I can also do is I could take this and again put that to a Spark table. I could put that to a SQL table. I can work on it there and do other analysis as well. But this is simply an example of being able to select a selection of files from a list and then have that same functionality.